New this morning, we're learning more about an overnight shooting on the south side of Syracuse. Police say 3 people are in the hospital after being shot.
It was about 11 o'clock last night when someone called 911 from Truth Terrace. That's off Oakwood Avenue. When police arrived, they found a 17-year-old had been shot in the thigh, an 18-year-old shot in the back, and a 17-year-old with gunshot wounds to the hand and leg. All 3 are expected to recover from their wounds, and witnesses on Truth Terrace told police the suspects were 2 men last seen running eastbound towards East Rainer Avenue. If you know anything about this case that could help police solve it and find those suspects, call them at 315-442-5222.
147 people in Onondaga County died last year reportedly from using opioids, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say that number might be even larger.
Because until now, official data showed 91 people across the U.S. die every day from prescription painkillers. But the CDC questions that number after finding possible opioid-related deaths listed under other causes. In Minnesota, for example, the CDC says half of the state's drug deaths since 2006 have not been listed as such, and they suggest the same could be true for other states. According to the CDC, many drug deaths are often listed as being either unexplained or caused by an infectious disease.
Happening today in Washington, President Donald Trump is expected to sign another executive order. This one creating a task force to examine the concerns of rural America and suggest legislative changes to address them. Trump will sign 4 executive orders this week, including ones calling for reviews of offshore drilling regulations and national monument designations on federal lands. The new orders will bring Trump's total to 32 in his first 100 days, the most by any president since World War II.
Now to the latest on North Korea. Top Trump administration officials are set to hold a very rare briefing at the White House tomorrow on North Korea. The country recently launched nuclear missile tests and are threatening more.
This comes as North Korea ups the ante with the United States taking an American teacher into custody as he was about to return home and threatening to sink that USS Carrier Group off its shores. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has all the details from Washington.
Tensions between the United States and the North Korean regime are still high and rising.
North Korea is a big world problem.
The situation in North Korea is set to be the big topic at the White House Wednesday, when all 100 U.S. senators take a trip to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Briefing them are the Secretaries of State and Defense, Director of National Security, and the Chair of the Joint Chiefs. Usually, it's the other way around. Administration officials travel to Capitol Hill to address Congress on foreign policy matters.
The Council must be prepared to impose additional and stronger sanctions on North Korean nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
On Monday, President Trump called on the United Nations Security Council to do more. Overnight, leaders from Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. met in Tokyo to discuss the same, as North Korea continues to threaten the United States with war, recently saying it could sink an American aircraft carrier in just one strike.
They have threatened South Korea and American forces in South Korea. They've threatened Japan. They've now threatened the west coast of the United States. This is a very serious issue for the United States, and I think is one of the great priorities of our foreign policy to contain North Korea's nuclear power.
Overnight, a U.S. nuclear-powered submarine docked in South Korea, but it's not expected to take part in any type of naval exercise. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
In Oneida County today, opening statements are set to begin in the murder trial of Caitlin Conley. Conley is charged with murdering the chiropractor she worked for. Detectives say she poisoned Dr. Mary Louise Yoder with a lethal dose of a drug used to treat gout. If convicted, Conley faces 25 years to life in prison.
6:34 now. Prosecutors have rejected an insanity plea for the Baldwinsville man charged with beating his Canadian girlfriend to death at a hotel on Erie Boulevard in Syracuse last December. David Schmittinger is pleading not guilty to murder charges in the death of 44-year-old Michelle Patterson of Ontario. His attorney had a doctor examine Schmittinger, but the prosecution rejected an insanity plea. They say the evidence is too weak. Schmittinger is now scheduled to return to court next Monday. He faces possible prison term of 25 years to life.
The building that houses the Cooperstown Bat Company caught fire late yesterday. This is video from the Oneonta Daily Star in Otsego County, and you can see the thick smoke rising from the building. At least 7 different fire departments worked to get that fire under control.
A lot of firefighters responded to this one in North Syracuse last night. A garage caught fire a little before 9 o'clock last night, right along Chestnut Street near Allen Road. Heavy smoke and fire was pouring from the garage when the crews arrived, but within about 45 minutes, everything was under control. Nobody was injured, and they're still searching for a cause of that garage fire in North Syracuse.
Well, excitement building this morning, only a couple of hours until we learn what the quote-unquote major event is coming to the Carrier Dome Dam.
Yeah, officials are making a 9 a.m. announcement with a representative from the Bowery Presents. That's a concert promotion company. We also expect to find out the date and time of the event. Today's announcement, 9 o'clock this morning, and we will carry it live for you, streaming it at localsyr.com.
Speaking of concerts, Elton John now laying low. He's canceled his April and May shows after spending some time in the hospital for a serious infection. Elton John apparently contracted an unusual bacterial infection when he was touring South America not too long ago. John is expected to make a full recovery, and he'll return to the stage in England in early June.
Well, here's a story from a Rensselaer County family. They'll never forget it. Their baby was born along the state thruway. Christy Koppenhafer hit the road for what would be an hour-long trip down the thruway yesterday morning, but her baby didn't want to wait.
We stopped. She was already crowning. My wife was already crowning, and 2 state troopers had shown up. I stopped and called 911. 2 troopers showed up to assist, and they helped her off to the side into the grass, and I laid out a blanket for her, and then she just gave birth right there on the blanket, and I caught her baby.
So meet the thruway babies, Skylar and Koppenhafer, born 7 pounds 4 ounces, 20 inches long. Both mother and baby are home now and doing very well.
Talk about having a good story to tell people,
great?
right? Well, back here at home, significant changes will be coming soon to Onondaga Lake Park as part of a restoration plan to protect wildlife and water quality.
News Channel 9's Sean Martinelli was at the lake